Check out ASAP Law's books on judiciary and UPSC. Coupon code and details in description box.
Hello, welcome to Legal Awareness web series. I had made a video in English on Vikas Dubey's encounter. I had to make that video because I received lot of requests from our viewers and subscribers that many of them are not fully understanding the Hindi videos. And therefore we have decided that we will have after every Hindi video summarized version of that video in English. So as you know, in our Hindi video, we have talked about whether Muslim women get better judgments in comparison to Hindu women. Now let me say at the outset, unlike United States of America, where judges have political ideologies, they are either Republican or Democrats because they are nominated by the president. Indian judges are absolutely independent. They don't have any ideology. I'm not denying the fact that some of our judges may be liberal, others may be little conservative. There were times when we had committed judges. There were some activist judges as well. But Indian judges do not decide cases looking at litigants' religion, caste, or economic status. In spite of this, a recent study by Anup Surendranath of National Law University, Delhi has pointed out that as many as 76% of people on death row come from minorities, Dalits, and poor. And therefore, it seems that these people are getting a raw deal from the judiciary. Now, the problem is in Indian scholarship, we have not spent much time at looking at judicial behavior. So nothing can be said conclusively. What we are trying to do in this video to look at some of the judgments to find out whether the chances of getting a favorable judgment, a liberal judgment are better for Muslim women vis-a-vis Hindu women. Now, why I am making this video? Because recently Guwahati High Court Chief Justice, in a matter where a Hindu wife refused to put vermilion and conch shell, said that this is enough to indicate that she is not interested in the continuance of this marriage. And therefore, this is a good enough ground to order divorce. Similarly, recently there was a very controversial observation made by Karnataka High Court Justice Krishna Dikshit in a matter of rape where he was granting advance bail to an accused. He has observed that the explanation offered by the complainant that after the penetration of the act she was tired and fell asleep is unbecoming of Indian women. That is not the way our women react when they are ravished. Unquote. This is absolutely unnecessary to make such a statement. After a lot of hue and cry, he expunged this controversial statement. I recall few years back, Madras High Court gave a strange order by directing that the divorcees too should maintain sexual purity to claim alimony. Now, this judgment again treats our women as mere sex object, and we are trying to impose on separated women, on divorcees, the same kind of discipline which a married woman under Indian ethos, so to say, is supposed to maintain. Even a liberal judge like Justice Kaju in D. Velasamy said that a second Hindu wife is a mistress and a keep and thus not entitled to maintenance. It was only subsequently a bench of Justice Gyan Sudha Mishra said that she will be entitled to that kind of maintenance. Justice Anil Dave and Justice Adarsh Goel in Prakash versus Phulvati, for instance, refused to give retrospective operation to 2005 Amendment to Hindu Succession Act. Till 2005, in spite of reforms in Hindu law, Hindu daughter was not entitled to ancestral property or Hindu joint family property. She had a right only in the self-acquired property of her father. Now, in this case, Phulwati won in the High Court. It is brothers going to the Supreme Court. But in Supreme Court, brothers or Hindu men won the case. She lost the case. And after disposing of this case against Phulwati, Justice Goyal says what he termed second part of the judgment and says there are number of discriminatory provisions in Muslim personal law and directs the court's registry to file a PIL. I think this kind of filing of PIL should not be encouraged by judges. He himself noted that this matter is not before him. He himself noted that in Ahmedabad Women Action Group case, Supreme Court itself has held that reforms in personal law is a policy matter, should ideally be left to the government of the day. This is how Saira Bano case started. Therefore, it was a case in which Hindu women did not really get a favorable verdict, but a directive was made for filing a case against Muslim personal law. Moreover, when subsequently Saira Bano case is filed, even though the court gave a right judgment in striking down triple divorce as invalid, though it did not hold it unconstitutional, many ministers and many anchors have wrongly interpreted that court struck down triple divorce as unconstitutional. It was not said unconstitutional. It was simply set aside. So it is illegal. But we never bothered to look at the facts of Saira Bano. Saira Bano, which is a triple divorce judgment, in fact did not involve instant triple divorce. In this case, her husband Rizwan had not just uttered the shameful word thrice in one go, in 1 minute. That was not the factual situation. The facts were noted by the Supreme Court, but no order was passed on the facts. The court merely laid down the law. But if you look closely at the facts, this man Rizwan is interested in sustaining the marriage. She is not interested in the marriage. She is the one who is saying, get me a separate house. The poor man got her a separate house. Still she was not satisfied and said, you have to come and live with my parents. Subsequently, he took her and children to in-laws' place. And then after some time, the father-in-law dropped children at Allahabad railway station and phoned Rizwan to pick them up. Then Rizwan files a case for restitution of conjugal rights. Now, restitution of conjugal right means he is saying, my wife has gone away from me. I want her back. This is the most direct expression of somebody's interest in sustaining marriage. She opposes it, files a transfer application for Kashipur, then he sends a written divorce with a demand draft of dower and maintenance. Therefore, it was not a case of instant triple divorce. That brings me to a similar case of a Hindu woman, Narendra's judgment of 2016, where you again had Justice Anil Dave, who was also there in Prakash versus Phulwati, and Justice Nageshwar Rao. Now, in this case, the wife had again refused to live within laws. But what the Supreme Court says, that a wife is an integral part of the family. And if a wife refuses to live within laws, it will amount to cruelty and husband will be entitled to divorce her. I think this kind of a judgment is a bolt from the blue for the Hindu women, and it treats marriage between two families rather than a union of two individuals. The court also used Indian and Hindu ethos interchangeably. Let me also give you another instance. All of us know about Shah Bano case. So much of controversy happened after this judgment. And then the government conceded to Muslim fanatics. A law was enacted, Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986, to undo this law. Of course, there was some kind of a compromise. The government also got the doors of Babri Mosque opened first, and after few months this law was passed. So fanatics of both sides were satisfied, but in the media and in academic writings, this law is considered to be hallmark of appeasement by Congress government, and it has politically helped BJP a great deal. But when this law was challenged as unconstitutional, Supreme Court not only in Daniel Latifi upheld the constitutionality of law, but ignoring the legislative history, ignoring the protest because of which this law was passed, the court said this law is consistent with Shahbano, and therefore this judgment again went in favor of Muslim women. Then Rajesh Sharma's 2017 judgment. Here again you had Justice Adarsh Goyal and Justice U. Lalit. You will recall Justice Adarsh Goyal was also there in Prakash versus Phulwati. Here the question was about 498A, cruelty against daughter-in-law. Supreme Court, taking note of low rate of conviction and misuse of 498A, gave number of directions diluting 498A. In Prakash versus Phulwati, the court could say we can't give you retrospective operation of this law. Here law was clear, but the court is saying accused is not to be arrested easily. First there should be a district family welfare committee. Their passports are not to be impounded. Their bail is to be heard same day. And what were the facts? The order was in favor of husband, in favor of in-laws. Like Prakash versus Phulwati, here again the Hindu women was at a receiving end. There was a demand of dowry of 3 lakh rupees and a car, which wife's family was not able to meet. She was pregnant, but she was dropped at her parents' house in pathetic condition. As a result, she had a miscarriage. The lower court has noted that she was tortured, yet the Supreme Court does not go with her and preferred to go with in-laws and dilutes a clear provision of law. Subsequently, the matter was referred to a 3-judge bench by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra. The point I am trying to draw home this evening is this, that it seems without any authentic research, if you randomly pick up cases, that Muslim women get sympathies of the court, they get better judgments. Decades ago, forget about these recent cases I was talking about. In the Harvinder Kaur judgment, Justice A.B. Rohatgi of Delhi High Court had observed, and I quote, introduction of constitutional law in the homes is most inappropriate. It is like introducing a bull in China shop. It will prove to be ruthless destroyer of the marriage institution and all that it stands for. In the privacy of home and married life, neither Article 21 nor Article 14 have any say. Fortunately, just few months back, when lockdown had just started, our Supreme Court has agreed to re-examine the constitutionality of restitution of conjugal right because it seriously undermines the choice and freedom. If you like Legal Awareness web series, kindly widely share our video. I would also request you to subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.